This is the world's most expensive salmon. This is a Copper River king salmon, also known as a Chinook salmon, and it is the world's most expensive salmon. Today, we're gonna give you the 3 reasons why. Reason number 1 why this is the world's most expensive salmon is limited access. My friend Kyle caught this fish commercial fishing in Alaska, and he's only allowed to go out fishing for this fish a few weeks out of the entire year. So it's not like he has 3 to 4 weeks straight where he's allowed to fish for these fish. He has 3 to 4 weeks where within those weeks, there's only 2 12 to 36-hour periods where he's even allowed to go fish for these gorgeous fish. Make sure you get all the scales off the belly. Make sure you get all the scales off the collar. And in case you don't know, this is a curry comb. This is a horse brush, and it works great for scaling fish. Long, smooth motions like this. The scales are delicate and brittle enough on these fish where if you hit them with hot oil, they're actually edible. But if you take the scales off, the skin is edible with a more gentle cooking method. Once we cut this beautiful fish open, we're not gonna want any fresh water to touch the surface of our king salmon fillets. But right now, we're good to rinse it off because the stomach lining in the skin is protecting the fish. We got the biggest king salmon Kyle caught so far this season, and I'm super excited to see how much it weighs. All right, survey says 29.18 pounds. That is an absolutely massive king salmon. And I've already told you guys this is the world's most expensive salmon, but I have not told you how much this fish can go for. It will blow your mind. So wholesale, meaning cost to me, this fish is upwards in the $40 a pound range. It can go much more than that. But let's just say this fish, for my cost, would be $1,166. That is insane. All right, we got a 29-pound fish. It costs $1,000. Let's see how much meat we get off of it. That way we can see what the price per pound for the actual meat is. Reason number 2 why Copper River king salmon is the world's most expensive salmon is because fishing for these animals is expensive and dangerous. Copper River king salmon are found in shallower waters, and the shallow waters in the Copper River is the most dangerous part of the area to fish in. The waves are worse, the conditions are worse, it is just a sketchy spot to fish in, and that's where these fish like to hang out. We don't want to lose a drop of this fish. Obviously, it was $1,000. We're gonna pick up the fin, and we're gonna go behind the head at an angle. Go like this, nice, smooth motion. Wow, the color of this fish is absolutely gorgeous. We're gonna go down to the spine and push forward, giving our knife a gentle twist while we do that. Now, there's obviously no spine under the belly, so we only have this little strip of spine that we want our knife resting on. So if your knife is flat like this, you're gonna miss out on a chunk of meat. You can push down a little bit when you're on the top of the fish before the belly ends. So we're going to rest our knife right on that spine with a very gentle angled knife. It's very easy to cut through these fish's backbones. So you want your knife very gently angled down. Once you get to the bottom of the ribs, you now want to flatten out your knife because there's meat on both sides of the backbone. And the reveal. Look how insanely gorgeous this fish is. Holy smokes. So right here, this is what I was talking about. When you go behind the head, you don't have to worry about getting any meat off of this part because we're gonna trim that up later. So you want your knife resting on the backbone. That way you can scrape it like this. When you see that white, you know you were in the right spot. All right, we're gonna get the other side slapped off. Then we're gonna lift up on that belly, twist our knife, push forward, make sure our knife is resting right on that backbone. We're not gonna lose any of this highly prized, very expensive king salmon. And we're gonna roll it off just like that. And we're not done with this yet. We're gonna scrape all the meat off the backbone. We're gonna cut off those collars, and we're gonna split that head for soup. These fish have been feeding and building up fat for their 300-mile run up the Copper River. So this is gonna be the peak of absolutely most delicious this fish will ever be. And if you guys want to try this extremely rare and extremely delicious king salmon, go to AlaskanSalmonCompany.com. That's Kyle's website, his business. He's catching the fish that he's selling, and he's a guy that's worth supporting. All right, now cutting the ribs off these fish, you want to tuck your knife right underneath those rib bones, and you want your knife to feel the rib bones as you slide down. If your knife feels the rib bones, you know you're not losing any meat under them, and if your knife doesn't feel the rib bones, you don't know how deep into the meat you're cutting, and that's no bueno. Once you get to the bottom of the ribs, which is right here, right in front of that belly strip, flatten your knife out. These don't get wasted either. We scrape all the meat off of that as well. Up next, we're gonna shave off the rest of the membrane off the belly. Look at that. To have fat lines like this in a wild salmon is absolutely insane. This is not going to waste either. When it comes to pulling bones out of these salmon, it's probably the hardest part about cleaning the fish. These bones stick in there like glue. They do not like coming out. You can use your finger to find the bone, put your tweezers right next to it, push down, and you want to pull this way towards the belly and the head at the same time. You want to make sure you push your tweezers down a little bit so that way you get a grip on the body and not just the tip of the bone. If you just grab the tip of the bone, you're gonna break off the tip and you're gonna leave those bone fragments inside of the fish, and we do not want that. And these bones all go in a line. So once you find the first one, finding the rest of them is easy. You just keep on going down that line, using your finger to find the tops of the bone. And for a fish this expensive, no one's gonna wanna buy the tail. So we're going to shave that tail off, and it's going to be added to our trim pile. So we're not going to factor that into our yield of how much this fish cost our market. All right, now we're going to trim off the rib bones off the second side of the fish. Right here, you can see that texture difference. It's like a line. That's the line we're cutting it at. To shave off this belly, trim pile, shaving off the tip of the tail, trim pile. Then we're gonna pull the bones out of this side as well. All right, this fish costs over $1,000 to get into the seafood market. Now we're going to see what we ended up with. Our 29-pound fish turned into 19.76 pounds of sellable meat. That's great. Now again, that's 19.76 pounds of sellable meat. So as a seafood market, we have to imagine that we're going to lose a percentage of this fillet due to trimming fish the way customers want it trimmed. Which is often why if you buy an entire fillet, you get a slightly better price. So this means the wholesale market cost of this fish is about $60 a pound. So if I paid $60 a pound to display this fish, not factoring in the labor of receiving it and processing and displaying it, what would you imagine I should sell this fish for to make it worth getting in and carrying? And that brings us to reason number 3 why this fish is so expensive, and that is demand. Even at those prices, this fish flies off the shelf. Everyone wants Copper River King salmon. It is the best wild salmon in the world. At least that's what many people consider it to be. And because of that, everyone who can afford the insane price point of it want some, and I don't blame them. It's absolutely delicious. My first cut, I always like to meet right at that dip, right there. I'll sell this piece for less money or smoke it. This way the customers are getting nothing but perfect king salmon fish rectangles. A slice like this is a perfect dinner for 2, and that is just a pinch over a pound, so you've got 2 9-ounce portions right there. And if it costs me $60 a pound, I also didn't even factor trimming it even more. I'm gonna have to sell it for at least $75 a pound. And that is a really, really tight margin at that price point. And that puts this one single piece at $86. This right here is my favorite part of the entire fish, the salmon collars. We're gonna give it a little cut right there. Often I'll slide my knife right underneath this bone, but this salmon is so expensive, I'm gonna leave that bone and the meat around it attached and take this whole thing off just like that. We're gonna roll this over, make the same cut on the other side, and look at that. That is an absolute prize right there. I'm gonna split these, trim out the membrane, but don't trim any of the meat out. Our customers are gonna eat the expensive stuff. I'm gonna eat the rest of the fish. All right, we're gonna grill up my favorite part of the entire fish. We're just gonna do it nice and quick. We're gonna go for 350 for 15 to 20 minutes on our Rectech flagship. The head of this fish is absolutely massive for a salmon. Popping it off is really easy. Quick little smack like that, and it pops off just like that. We're gonna cut this into sections to fit on our racks better. Little smack. We're not done yet. We're gonna take away this skin and this cartilage right here. It is nice and fatty, but there's a bunch of small bones in there, and we're already cooking enough bones. We're just gonna get rid of that. Now we're gonna cut this right in half just like that. One of the crazy things about this fish is Kyle doesn't even know which zone he's allowed to fish in until 18 hours out. That is absolutely insane. On the spines, we're gonna go in with some seafood magic. I don't wanna go too heavy-handed, because you wanna taste the fish still. Super easy to do, and away these go. Up next, we got these salmon bellies. This is just straight fish butter, absolutely delicious. We got the salmon ribs, another delicious part of the fish. It's not a ton of meat on these, but the meat that is there, you do not want to go to waste. On these guys, we're gonna put some special stuff on it. This is a little spicy, little sweet. Sweetness goes great with the fattiness of the bellies. Absolutely delicious. All right, and last but certainly not least, the best part of the whole dang fish. On one of them, we're gonna put special stuff, and on the next one, we're gonna put on Chef Paul's. I'm looking forward to all of it, but king salmon collars, really something special. All right, let's check it out. Woo! That is gorgeous. Oh yeah. Beautiful fatty belly, fully cooked, but still super wet. Oh, woo! My first bite of Copper River King salmon for 2025, and it did not disappoint. Buttery, delicious, absolutely phenomenal. And watch this, these ribs, you just slide right over the top of them, and you get this big old pile of meat, just like that. Oh yeah. Meat on the skeleton right here. It's gonna be leaner than the belly, but nice and moist from being cooked right on the bone. Look at that, glistening, beautiful salmon fat. Oh my gosh. The flavor of this fish is absolutely phenomenal. A lot of wild salmon has a stronger, fishier flavor. This is full body flavored, but it's mild and buttery at the same time. It is so good. Look at those. Absolutely beautiful. The fat content behind this pec fin right here is gonna be phenomenal. The meat behind the head is gonna be super juicy. Look at all that glistening silver right there. Oh yeah. All right, you guys, I gotta go bring all this meat back to the boys at the seafood market. Thanks for watching. Have a killer day.